Okay, so today we're going to talk about safety when running the lathe, right? So again, all these machine tools have a lot of rotating parts, so most of it is actually going to be uh, related to that today. So if we come back here and flip the machine on, right, the DRO is going to turn on and the machine is on. There's no speed here because we didn't actually turn the motor on right there. All right, so the main thing that we usually look at is actually the rotating chuck, right? So we have to be careful with anything that can get caught, like on the chuck here. So that would see any loose clothes. So if I have a long sleeve, or if I have um, anything hanging on me that actually could get caught there. If I have long hair and I get my head, for some reason I try to look over the chuck, then I position in a way that my hair can get caught. So as I said, uh, we are always going to have to actually work to mitigate the chances of actually something going wrong, right? So now if we look at all the rotating parts, so let's see, actually let's start with the, let's continue with the chuck for one more. So when I turn on this machine, and let's say it's pretty slow, it's easy to see the the jaws of the chuck, and actually if it hits me, it's not a big problem, right? However, if it's faster or if it's fast, I don't see the jaws anymore. It's the same effect that I have on a helicopter helix. You don't see it anymore. So then some people, especially when they're deburring, they can get too close to the chuck, right? And if you get hit by the jaws, then it's gonna be uncomfortable to say the least. The 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 injury might not be severe. You can break your hand, but it's not something that we want at all. So we always have to be careful when we are working anywhere close to the jaw, into the chuck, right? So as we said, the first thing we're gonna worry about ourselves. The second thing we're gonna worry about the machine. So that's the same when when we're working too close. Let's say we position it here. So when you turn, we have to make, before we start, it's a good practice to turn to make sure nothing is gonna get hit, right? Because if I start this machine and it hits there, then something is gonna break, right? And sometimes when we're working so close here, and we're not gonna be playing with the carriage, so this is the lever that moves the carriage back and forth. We're not gonna be playing with the carriage. One thing that we can do is actually we lock the y-axis. So if you lock the y-axis, now it's more difficult to move this axis. See? So even if you make a mistake and you grab on the wrong lever, you're not gonna move this forward. So it would get you'd hit your cutter on your chuck there or on the jaws. So it's a good practice to lock any axis that are not going to be using, right? So this would be the one that locks the y-axis. All right. So so what other moving parts we have here? The other moving parts that we have here is if I have my again, see, whenever you turn a knob or a gear, so all the knobs and gears are only going to move once the machine is off. The only knob that you can turn when the machine is on is the speed control. but everything else is it's a knob here, but it's a gear inside. So right now, when you can move, is because the gears are butting together. So to make it work, you're gonna have to move. You move the chuck at the same time that you move the gear, and then it goes in. See, I'm sorry, I only have I'm holding the phone. So all right. So if I have my this knob on one, then is one of the settings that we have to change for the power feed to work. So that means that this screw is going to turn on. And if I have the auto feed forward or reverse, then we know that the auto feed shaft is going to turn, right? So right now, if I turn my machine on, we have two more things rotating, which is the power screw and the auto feed. Both are turning there. And again, the same. Those can I can have my clothes getting cut there. I can have my like anything that's loose on me. I can have the hair getting cut there. So the problem is not very much getting caught here. Like it is pretty bad. But the problem is sometimes imagine you get caught on your clothes here. So you get caught on your clothes here, and then now it's pulling you down closer to the machine, and then now you're really close to the chuck. You're really close to the stock. So that's kind of like a why we want to prevent any kind of like a getting sucked into the machine. Because then it puts you in a bad position, right? Next one is we never leave the chuck key on the chuck. So I think on the parts for the lathe, I already talked about that. But we're gonna say it again. Um, the After you release or you get tight, we always put it back on the on the holder. The way that works is when you come in, you're gonna get everything up. You do all the work. At the end, when you take everything down, you have to actually put it down here, clean it up, and then you leave, right? So it's always there. Why do you want to not keep it there? Because first thing, if I turn on the machine, there's a chance that this thing is going to go flying, right, and hit somebody in the lab. The other chance is if this is moving and I try to grab it, then there's a chance that I'm going to get caught in between there. See, which wouldn't be comfortable. All right, so chuck key always on the holder, never leave on the chuck. All right. All right. So next one is we never stand in front of the chuck, right? All the work that's going to be done, you're going to be doing holding what we call like a left-handed, right, on the side here. So all the work is going to be done from the side. So your left hand is going to go on the wheel there. This hand's going to go on the wheel there, and then that's how you're going to move, right? You're always going to be from this side. Why we don't stand in front of the chuck? Because with your stock connected there, if anything breaks, it's going to go flying in this direction, right? So we don't want anybody in here, right? Good. So nobody stands, because like this is what we call the line of fire. If anything goes wrong, it's gonna break in the line of fire, and people that are in the line of fire are gonna get hurt, right? So this is pretty much the only line of fire that we have. If we have a small stock, that means if the stock is only sticking out this way. However, imagine you have a 4-foot piece that we want to do some work on the end. We leave the stock, when you hold it the same way that we will hold like a smaller stock, we leave it out here. However, we would have to leave the rest sticking out this way, right? So if we have the stock sticking out this way, now this side also becomes a line of fire. Why is that? Because with this, uh, depending on the speed that we're working on, there is a chance that this piece of stock is actually going to go bend, and then it's just going to become a big hellas that's going to go around. So you'd be hit by like a metal piece at, I don't know, 400 RPMs, for example. So if we have anything sticking out this way, we don't, nobody stays on this side. We don't work with the machine. So sometimes we're going to be asked to check on the gears here or to replace the gears. So these gears you'd replace to change the settings here for the relation of movement of the y-axis in relation to the chuck speed. So we always work with this door closed. All right, if you hear a sound coming from here and you want to go check, maybe something fell off, went loose, we turn the machine off and then we can safely work on it. All right. All right, so we're talking about um, getting caught on the chuck, getting caught on the power and out of feed screw. We talked about hitting our hands on the chuck or hitting um, the tool holder or the tool on the chuck. Um, um, Also, a way like something that we have to be careful with is when we have the auto feed. Okay, remember. So imagine I have the auto feed and power feed turned on, right? So let's see, I'm gonna turn the machine on. It's gonna go to 400, and now I'm gonna turn the y-axis auto feed on. So I'm gonna go, and now this is going forward, right? Whenever you have it on, we ask you to keep your hand on the lever so you know what the lever is, right? You know where the lever is. Because if we get too close and we have to stop, then you just move it and it stops, right? But if you have it running and you are just watching, by the time that you get to where you have to go, maybe you're going to grab a different lever. And then we might get into an accident there, right? So this is what we want to make sure, right? And also we want all our hands to be used, right? So let's say I turn this lever on, so now I have my left hand holding the lever there. What's my right hand doing now? So my right hand right now is holding my phone, but like what I would ask you to do is to put your right hand on the tailstock here, right? Why is that? Because the tailstock is actually, many times you're gonna be connected to your stock, holding the having the live center holding your stock on the far end. So if the machine is vibrating, if the machine is uh, showing signs that something is wrong, then you're gonna feel it, right? And also it's a place for your hand to be, so your hand is not actually trying to touch anything, right? We don't touch the stock, we don't clean up anything with our hand, so we're always gonna use, we need to clean anything, we go and clean. We need to clean up the cutter here because there's something stuck. We use the proper tools, so we're not gonna use our hand there because I don't want anybody hurt in any, even a simple cut, right? Last but not least, this is not a table, right? I don't want any tools being placed on here, right? Because the machine is gonna be vibrating, right? So if you put anything there and it goes and it falls here, then look, there's a chance it's gonna go flying, right? So we're never gonna use this pot as like to hold tools or work or whatever. So if you need a table to be on the side here, we always have this table. So you can just move it around, put it right there, and it's gonna be an accessory table for you when working on the lathe. All right, so this was safety with the lathe, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video.